Hello, I'm Pastor Yu. In 2020, the whole world is struggling with COVID-19. All pilgrimage has been stopped since March this year. No one knows when a visit will be allowed again. So, during those uncertain times, I have created this channel of online pilgrimage for the Corona period and after Corona period. This is a channel to explore the places and the historical background of the Bible. The goal of this channel is to reach a deep and correct understanding of the Bible. I will cover historical and archaeological stories along with Bible text. So, I am standing in front of you in the name of exploring the Bible land. It should be mentioned, it will be conducted in easy English because I'm Korean, non-English speaker. Even if you are not Christian, this channel is useful who loves history. Let's start exploring the Bible land. Today, in the first video, I will explain the history of the construction of Caesarea and Herod the Great. Although Caesarea appears just in the New Testament, it actually exists from the Old Testament period. In this video, I will summarize the history from the Old Testament era until Caesarea was constructed by Herod the Great. Caesarea located on the Mediterranean side, and it is an ancient harbor city. Don't get confused with Caesarea Philippi. Caesarea Philippi is at Mount Hermon, and Caesarea is on the Mediterranean side. Caesarea Philippi will be introduced next time. Caesarea was not mentioned directly in the Old Testament, but indirectly mentioned. First, let's take a look at the location of the ancient city Dor mentioned in the Bible. Caesarea is about 15 kilometers south of Dor. It's relatively close. It was originally the land given to the tribe of Manasseh, but they could not drive out the Canaanite. Let's look at the Bible, Joshua chapter 17, verse 11 to 12. Definitely, the Manasseh's descendants didn't drive out the people of Dor with their surrounding settlements. Because Caesarea and Dor are nearby, it's clear that Caesarea was the land that was given to Manasseh. There is one more verse in the Bible, Judges chapter 1, verse 27. Here, today's first summary. Caesarea was not occupied by the tribe of Manasseh in the Old Testament period. Let's move to the second story. There is a period about 400 years between the Old and New Testament. This is called the intertestamental period. During this time, Jews remained independent from Syria's Seleucid Empire. The Jews had revolted to achieve this independence. This revolt is called the Maccabean Revolt. This case is well documented in the first and second Maccabees of the Bible used by Catholics. The success of this revolt has resulted the Jewish dynasty, which is called the Hasmonean dynasty. There is a king called Alexander Janneus, who is a member of this dynasty. His reign was 103 to 76 BCE. This king occupied the Mediterranean seaside cities by military. Josephus, a Jewish historian of the 1st century, mentioned this. Here, Dora is the same place as Dor in the Bible. By attacking like this, Alexander Janneus had captured the Strato Tower. The Strato Tower is a port built by Tyre for the name of the royal family around the 4th century BCE. And then this Stratos Tower becomes Caesarea. Let me summarize the second point. Alexander Janneus captured the Stratos Tower. Now, let's move on to the third story. Since 67 BCE, Hyrcanus and Aristobulus have been fighting for the throne of Judea. All of you know Roman General Pompeii. Around this time, General Pompeii came to Syria after completing the battles in the Armenian region. He finalized his quarreling in Judea. At 63 BCE, General Pompeii occupied Jerusalem and recognized Hyrcanus as the king of Judea. Pompey occupied several cities in the land of Judea and granted autonomy. These cities were tied as Decapolis, a federation of 10 autonomous cities. You can find Decapolis in the New Testament. Also, Pompey occupied cities along the coast and gave the status as polis. One of them is the Stratos Tower. This is also known through Josephus. At this time, Herod Antipater, the father of Herod the Great, succeeded politically with Hyrcanus and Pompey. In these political conditions, Herod the Great will appear as a dominant political person after a few decades. Let me summarize the third point. Pompey made the Stratos Tower become a Roman city. Now, let's start the last story. After Julius Caesar, the Roman dictator, is assassinated by Brutus, Caesar Octavianus and Marcus Antonius begin to fight each other for supremacy. Antonius joined the powerful economy of Cleopatra. This pressed Octavianus in Rome. In this situation, Herod the Great was on Antonius' side. Therefore, Antonius allowed Herod to become the king of Judea. However, 7 years after Herod became a king, the Battle of Actium broke out in 31 BCE, which changed world history. In this battle, Antonius was defeated and lost his power rapidly. Herod the Great is fearing that he would be hated by Caesar Octavianus because he kept having a friend relationship with Antonius. To solve this problem, Herod the Great boldly sailed to Caesar, who is on the island of Rhodes, after the Battle of Actium. When he met Caesar, he took off his crown and was dressed as a common man, but he behaved like a king. Let's quote what he said to Caesar from Josephus' book. O Caesar, as I was made king of Jews by Antonius, so I promised my royal authority to him in my best manner. If Arabians not had hindered me, I should have been in the battle against you with Antonius. However, I sent him many reinforcements and thousands of grain as much as I could. Also, I gave him an advice in my best. There was only one way of recovering his affairs, that was to kill Cleopatra. But his affection for Cleopatra stopped his ears. I believe God himself does this, because God wants to give the empire to you. Also, I am defeated with Antonius. I have laid aside my crown and come here to you. My life is on your hands. I am begging you, please consider how I am faithful to my friend and not whose friend I have been. In this statement, Caesar Octavianus praised Herod and proclaims an imperial order to make Herod the king of Judea. In addition, he gave more territory to Herod. This gave more power to Herod the Great. After Caesar Octavianus completely defeated Antonius and Cleopatra, he became the first emperor of Rome, and he received the title as Augustus. This is the man who is Caesar Augustus in the New Testament. Herod the Great performed large-scale construction in many parts of the kingdom of Judea, expressing his loyalty for Caesar Augustus. The biggest project was to build a new harbor. He chose the Strato Tower as the best place for new harbor. After constructing the largest artificial harbor in the Roman Empire, Herod the Great wanted to name this harbor following Caesar Augustus' name. In Hebrew and Greek, the name of lands or cities is grammatically a female noun. So, if you want to give a male name to a city, you need to change it to a female form. That is why the female form of Caesar is Caesarea. Therefore, the name of this new harbor is Caesarea. Let's take a look at Josephus' explanation. Now, there were edifices all along the circular harbor, made of the finest stone. On the hilltop, there was a temple for Caesar. The city itself was called Caesarea, which was also built of fine materials and was of fine structure. In this way, the most Roman-style city, Caesarea, was constructed on the land of Israel. Caesarea is a really important place to understand the book of Acts. Now, last summary. Herod the Great constructed Caesarea in the name of Caesar Augustus. The places of Bible were not just written inside of Bible. Rather, they always existed dynamically with history. Today, we look at Caesarea's origin. In continued videos, we will visit Caesarea in place by place and give you a detailed explanation. In the next video, we will take a look at Caesarea's Roman theater and the biblical event of Herod, who was eaten by worms and died. Thank you for watching my video. See you next time. Bye bye.